Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a deck built around a Planeswalker I've not really built around, and that's going to be the Calyx deck. So we're going to play a green-white mid-range list. This one's a deck that I've built up quite recently, so it's not really fine-tuned at this point, but I think it's got some action to it anyway. It's a lot of fun to play around with. So Calyx Destiny's Hand is going to be the build around card for today. He's a 4 mana 4 loyalty planeswalker. The +1 allows you to look at the top 4 cards of your library and reveal an enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The -3 allows you to get rid of a creature or enchantment until that enchantment leaves the battlefield. So you can turn an enchantment into a worsened Prism Realm, Banishing Light kind of thing. Only gets rid of creature enchantments, but we have plenty of targets for that -3. And then the -7, can't quite remember the name of that card. I want to say like Open the Vaults, but I don't think that's actually what it's called. I don't know. Anyway, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, and you know, we can do that quite well. We've got lots of enchantments in the deck. That's going to be the build around card, so we're very much an Enchantress kind of focused deck. We're running the 2 best Constellation cards in Magic Arena at the moment, Constellation being a trigger for when an enchantment enters the battlefield. So in the case of Archon of Sun's Grace, this is going to be kind of our aggro defense. A 4 mana 3/4, when an enchantment enters, you get a 2/2 Pegasus creature token with flying, and also it's a Lord-ish effect for those Pegasi, which allows them to have lifelink. And then you got your Citizen Champion, which is our card advantage engine, and big beater in the late game as well, giving you a +1/+1 counter and a card draw whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield. So as far as enchantments are concerned, we've got Alseid, which allows us to basically God's Willing our creatures and things like that, protecting our main beaters, making sure they stick around. It's also an enchantment in itself, so it's going to trigger these guys at the same time. Running 4 copies of Sentinel's Eyes, which might look interesting and odd to some people because it's not very much a Boggles deck, but I think Sentinel's Eyes is a really good card regardless of the fact that you're not really being an Auras deck. It's a 1 mana, give a +1/+1 and vigilance to a creature, so in the case of Archon, you make yourself a 4/5 vigilant lifelinking creature. It also has Escape, which is really cheap to play. 1 white mana and exile 2 other cards from your graveyard. We've got things like Fabled Passage in here, and creatures dying that we might not want to get back with our recursion off of like Calyx and Elspeth Conquers Death. So we can really just use that exile 2 other cards very nicely here, just to get that extra little bit of trigger. Play a Citizen Champion on 4 into Sentinel's Eyes, for example, and you make yourself a really big creature that will not typically die to combat damage or burn spells, needs hard removal at that point. So Sentinel's Eyes, secretly extremely good in this deck. We got Destiny Spinner, which is a little bit of a control piece, and I'm not expecting to see too many counter magic spells in the formats that we're going to be playing today. Standard, of course, best of 1. I'm expecting to see more mono red and things like that, but I wanted to hedge a little bit against the counter magic spells. So we got Destiny Spinner, a 2 mana 2/3 enchantment, again triggers Constellation, shootable with Calyx to a certain extent, and it gives creatures and enchantment spells you control uncounterability. And then later as well, I'm probably going to forget that this is an activated ability, but for 4 mana you can turn one of your lands into an XX, where X is the number of enchantments you control, and keep it a land, so you get to swing through. Got Trample, so it's nice at finishing a game out as well, so pretty good there. 3 copies of Wolfwillow Haven, just to make sure that we hit our land drops, because we do have plenty of 5 drops and we really want to get to our 4s as well. So Wolfwillow Haven, really nice at doing that kind of thing. A 2 mana enchant land gives that land an additional green mana when you tap it, and it's a mana sink in the late game, allowing us to pay 5 mana to make a 2/2 green wolf token if we really do not need the mana anymore, or if we're actually about to sacrifice Calyx to the -7. It's another way to get that back. Banishing Light is our removal, along with Elspeth Conquers Death and Cavalier of Dawn. Elspeth Conquers Death, really solid card, running 4 of them, because it just allows us to do so much stuff. The Chapter 1 is removal for practically anything that you should ever have to care about. If we can't hit it with that, we've got Cavalier of Dawn and Banishing Light to do it instead. The Chapter 2 is good for counter magic as well, giving non-creature spells a little bit of a tax, so if your opponent's trying to play Teferi Time Raveler or something nasty like that. Going to cost 2 extra for that turn, potentially allowing our stuff to resolve as well, so it's kind of like a pseudo Destiny Spinner in that sense. tempo decks are going to have to pay more for their counter magic, all that shenanigans. And then the Chapter 3, allowing us to bring back a creature or a planeswalker with either an extra loyalty or an extra +1/+1 counter, and we got plenty of targets for that. We're running a Ajani because I like a Ajani. The -2 is really good with the Archon of Sun's Grace, and it also gives creatures vigilance as well, which means we can attack and block with our life-linking creatures. These two are basically the combo I'm trying to go with. -2, putting a counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control as well. So Calix gets a little bit of a buff. We can charge towards that -7, maybe a little bit quicker if we haven't used the -3 at any point during the game. He really does not take too long to get back. Things like Elspeth Conquers Death bring him back at 5, he ticks up to 6, and then the turn after that he's ticking to 7, turn after that he's ulting. So it's really not a long time to wait for Calix to do his ult with this deck, which is pretty sweet. And if we've got the Ajani, it's kind of the same thing with the extra loyalty there, allowing us to ramp up to a Calix ult, should it matter. Cavalier of Dawn, permanent removal, essentially allows us to get rid of whatever we want and turn it into a 3/3, and when it dies we get an enchantment back from our graveyard to our hand, so we can loop Elspeth Conquers Deaths and Cavalier of Dawns, for example. So if this dies, we go Elspeth Conquers Death, Chapter 3, bring back Cavalier. If it dies, it brings back Elspeth Conquers Death, and we just loop these. Very nice. Hopefully we see them today, because I love this card. And then finally, Vanishing Light gets rid of whatever we want. Speaks for itself. Mana base, very uninteresting. We've got Fabled Passages to crack for our basics, 5 planes and 6 forests. We've got 1 Ardent Veil, because I don't really see it being all that good, but I'm sure people would ask where it is if I didn't put it in here. Not going to be put in the green castle because I literally don't see that doing anything, since most of our expensive creatures are white anyway, so the extra green mana's just not going to do anything, so I'd rather have an untapped land over that. 4 Temple Gardens, 4 Temple of Plenties, and 4 Fabled Passages, as we mentioned. But yeah, before we get into some gameplay, I've got some packs to open, so let's do that. A Theros pack, in fact. We even get a Mythic. Look at that, beautiful. Reverent Hoplite, and a Storm's Wrath. Fantastic. Alright, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to personal deck critiques from myself every month, then check out the Patreon link down in the description below. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we are in, and we've got some Citizen Champions, which left unattended will probably get away with this game. Other than that though, the hands... We'll see. We'll see. Not in the mood to mull hands today, so we're just going to go with what we've got. I'm going to put the land to the bottom. I'm sure we'll do fine without it. Blue, black, and we haven't been Thought Erasured yet. That is crazy. They must be holding their Thought Erasure for later, because everybody knows that blue-black always has Thought Erasure on turn 2. It's part of the text that's hidden on the card. Tyrant Scorn, okay. Sure. Archon of Sun's Grace, I think we'll take that. I think we'll just keep threatening our opponent with must-answer creatures. So we're going to lead off with like a Citizen Champion next turn, our opponent's going to kill it. Then we're going to do Citizen Champion plus Sentinel's Eyes, opponent's going to kill it. And then we'll go Archon and hope for the best. It's the idea at least. We'll see if that actually works out in reality. Opponent is running Quench, so we're a Dimir tempo list, so expect things like Thief of Sanity, I guess. Is that what we're playing? Go Citizen Champion. That resolved. Crack this for a Plains. I think our opponent's got nothing, which I find very weird, so we're just going to stick a counter on the Citizen Champion and get a bit of card draw. So, we basically opt without the scry. Eat to Extinction, yep, the answers just keep on flowing. But I like our hand all the same. I think we're doing just fine, honestly. We're going to go Calix. Temple of Plenty to increase the odds of finding something we want. We can't hit lands with Calix on the tick up, so we're just going to bottom that. Then we get to see a brand new 4. Wow. Wowee. Reveal the top 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ain't questioning it.
I am blessed by Nyx.
I ain't questioning that at all. There's Thief for Sanity. So that needs answering real quick. How does this work? Exile a creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. Alright. I was thinking to myself, and this would have been really goofy, was to Sentinel's Eyes the Thief of Sanity and then stick Thief of Sanity under the Sentinel's Eyes, but in reality, it actually just straight up comes back. So, I think our opponent might have a Quench in hand, so we're going to play the Archon, and we're going to try and Sentinel's Eyes it up. Fantastic. And then we can use the minus to get rid of Thief of Sanity until... that probably won't work out the way I wanted to. I think with the board state the way it is, I don't need to get rid of Thief of Sanity. I think we'll just tick up and get ourselves a Wolf Willow Haven. Okay.
Look skyward. Receive the gifts of the gods.
Yeah, I think I'm going to Sentinel's Eyes this one up as well. Just gives our opponent nothing to push through with our Thief of Sanity. We've got some Vigilant threats, and we're not afraid to use them. So even with removal, I think they are just donezo. We're going to tick up again. And we're ready to ult Calyx if it comes to it. I don't think we need the Banishing Light necessarily, although might as well, right? Could do the Alsaid, allows us to protect our Archon from targeted removal. That'd be okay. I don't see our opponent really running board wipes, but I suppose you just never know. Alright, Wolf Willow Haven. I'm going to stick it on this forest. Get another 2/2, and this is what Archon of Sun's Grace does. It just goes absolutely insane out of nowhere if it's left unattended, which opponent ran out of answers. It's kind of our battle plan all along, so, you know, works out, right? And, yeah, I think we'll just pass there. I don't know if I want to commit the Sentinel's Eyes necessarily right now. I might want something out of my graveyard for later. We're just going to play the Temple Garden tapped and pass the turn. Holding open the protection from blue or black with Alsaid, and, yeah, they've had enough. The moment they ran out of removal and counter magic, their deck flailed, and we got to go off. We were only getting like one thing back with Calyx, so, you know, it is a thing, but it's not a great thing. I know, we're actually getting, what, Sentinel's Eyes and a Wolf Willow Haven? I can't actually even remember what we put in there. That's how good my memory is. Anyway, let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we are in a 2-lander for this hand, which is not fantastic, but with a Temple of Plenty it means we've probably got our third land drop. We've got a turn 1 and turn 2 play, so I think I'm okay with this hand. Got plenty of removal for whatever our opponent's doing as well, presumably. Okay, so, yeah, we're just going to lead off with the Temple of Plenty, and yes, we want any lands that we see. I'm going to go for an Alsaid and hope for the best. Seems like our opponent might be playing mono red, but real slow. Could be big red. You don't see that one very often. Opponent eyes up our Alsaid. This is why sometimes taking a breather is worthwhile, or opponent already hovering their removal spell for my Alsaid, so really playing Sentinel's Eyes is not really ideal here. So we're just going to pass. Good game to you, and you are now muted. Alright. Okay, not going to block that. Be on a Gobbo's list. How can my opponent be playing Goblins and be an arsehole at the same time? I don't understand. Alright. No attacks. See if Citizen Champion can go off here, because if they don't have an answer to it, then we are going to win. We're definitely not going to open up any removal to our opponent. Could open up a shock if we blocked anything with Citizen Champion, and I'd rather just win the game. Oh, they're playing mono red, that explains a lot. Okay. Grim Initiate. They just have Legion Warboss. Cool. Nice and fun-like. Let's go with the Destiny Spinner. Draw a card. pump Citizen Champion, get a Forest, play a Sentinel's Eyes on, I think, we could do it on Alcide, so we've got a 2-2 with lifelink. It does die to a shock for sure, but our opponent hasn't really removed anything up until this point, so I think we might as well make more creatures bigger. And we can't really attack because they got 2 first strikers here. And I think we don't want to attack him with our Citizen Champion. I think we just want to hold back and pick off loads of nonsense. They could have a shock for sure. And they do. Okay. We are going to sack this and give this protection from red. Because it's going to die anyway. So we might as well make it an impossible block for our opponent. We've got a Dwarven Mine and a Scorch Spitter. Chandra, and that's their entire board state mapped out for us. Okay. Opponent swinging in. We're going to kill Warboss. We're going to kill Champion. There's nothing they can do about it. But we are going to need a good answer soon. Land would be okay for Chandra. Good stuff. Elspeth Conquers Death. We know we're getting an Alcide back from the next chapter, so not too bad there. It's all a matter of gaining life, though, which is something that we are not doing right now. Would like to be able to do that. Alright, non-creatures cost a little bit more for our opponent. I think we're going to go with land, Vanishing Light, and just start picking off all of their stuff here. We're going to draw a card, get rid of Scorch Spitter, just in case they have Chandra's Phoenix, whatever it's called. And I think I'm just going to go with the other Banishing Light and just keep picking apart our opponent's stuff, get rid of Grim Initia, and they've had enough. Goodbye, opponent. Goodbye. Alrighty then, we're in, and our opponent looks to be on some sort of green sleeve, so we're going to assume they're playing green. And our mana base is pretty garbage. I guess it's serviceable. It depends on the matchup as to whether this hand's good. But I guess if we're up against a green deck, we should be able to get these to go off pretty easily. And survive long enough to do an Archon as well. Dang it, opponent with the bamboozle sleeves. Okay. Well, we're going to go with Temple Garden tapped. It allows the rest of our mana base to come into play untapped. Fable Passage on 4, for example, is the ideal situation here. You kind of want that 5th land anyway, so not thinning also benefits us. So they're playing Temple and Malice, which probably means they're playing the Sacrifice deck, and I don't think we can win against the Sacrifice deck if they have a really good start-up. I'd never, ever experienced that deck not having a good hand. Alright, let's pass. Yeah, we just need to dodge Priest of the Forgotten Gods, basically. But I'm going to crack their Fable Passage. Or if we can live long enough to actually get some tokens with Archon, then we win. Alright, so inevitably they get the one card that really messes us up. Got Citizen Champion though, it's not too bad. Just going to keep adding to the board, because if they ever get to the point where they can make a sacrifice a creature, I need to be able to keep something around. Something big and powerful, so either the card advantage monstrosity or the creature generating monstrosity. And then hopefully we can lead off into the Elspeth Conquers Death, getting rid of Mayhem Devils and things like that. I'm not sure they've got that many 3 mana cost or higher spells, really. They got Chandras and Mayhem Devils, as we mentioned, but I don't actually know they've got that many more, to be honest. Well, there's a Midnight Reaper. Okay. Consider me wrong. I like being wrong from time to time. We're going to go with the Banishing Light to get rid of the Priest. As I mentioned, it's a really bad card for us. So we want to just make our opponent sacrifice it at the very least. And we get to draw a card as well, which is lovely. So crack it to Witch's Oven so they can draw a card. Totally fine by me. We've got an Ajani, so we can gain some life, give vigilance to our Archon and whatnot. I think now is the time that we actually want to go and crack this Fabled Passage, because we'd like anything but a land next turn. And this also allows us to hold open the Al-Said as well. Get in for 2, get hit for 3, doesn't seem worthwhile. We've got protection from, like, Claim the Firstborn as well with this Al-Said around, which is lovely. Got to keep these kind of things in mind. Midnight Ripper. We cracking one to draw 2. That'd be great. Love to see that. We ain't. We ain't doing that. Alright, well, if that's the case, we're going to go Archon. Go a little bit into setup mode, essentially. So that these Elspeth Conquers Death don't just draw as a card, they also make us a 2-2 lifelinker. And I feel like we can't lose at that point. Especially with this Al-Said around, protecting our pieces as well. I suppose they could have a Storm's Wrath. That'd actually work out in their favour quite well. To a certain extent, at least, because we still get to play Elspeth Conquers Death and add Archon to the board, and then these have valid targets. But still. Yeah, board state not looking too... our graveyard, sorry, not looking too full at the moment. Why has our opponent got nothing? I feel like I might have considered sacking a Midnight Reaper by now. Because they've really just done nothing. And our opponent's deck really shouldn't be. Whoa, Strider, okay. This is non-token creature dying, so that Woe Strider not going to be able to sack to draw cards. But looks like they might be, yep, Claim the Firstborn. You can absolutely get out of here, my friend. Protection from red. Ain't happening. They could have another one, which gets rid of the Archon, but we have backup Archon, so it's not too bad. Yep, protection from red, fizzle the spell. And then that opens up a really good Elspeth Conquers Death. Drawing cards, making 2/2s. The game is over. I think we get rid of Midnight Reaper. They've already got a sacrifice outlet anyway. So let's just get rid of a card draw outlet. And our opponent should explode in about 5 to 10 seconds here. Sure, Witch's Oven, do your stuff. Gonna play it out. Props to you, I suppose. Temple Garden. Alright, so let's gain 3 life. And we'll crack that passage as well before our opponent plays a Mayhem Devil. Since it's any player sacrificing triggers that. We got an Al-Said coming back from the Elspeth Conquers Death, which allows us to keep our creatures protected. We can even play the Archon as well before that happens. Looks like they got another one. Yeah, sure. Alright, I'm just going to crack this now. So we're getting Citizen Champion back from Elspeth Conquers Death. Let's have another white source. They got Witch's Oven to sack it, Woe Strider to sack it, so if they want a food token or they want a scry, they've got 2 options for that. Got Prankle, okay. Well, Prankle is getting blocked, because I'm going to lose a creature regardless. Yep, block that. And I guess Archon's staying untapped now. So Woe Strider draws him a card, gets rid of my champion. Little short on the Ajani into something here. That would be real nice, but wasn't meant to be. Yeah, I think we go Temple. See what we will draw next turn. Definitely don't want to draw that. And then we go Elspeth Conquers Death. Yeah, we've still got 2 targets in the yard as well, so it's going to be really nice. to get these going. So they can sack Prankle to draw a card. Again, not really worth getting rid of Worst Rider because the ability is already in effect with the Witch's Oven here. Let's get rid of Prankle. Gonna make a 2/2. I don't think we really have time to play the Archon first. I think over the long run we're gonna have plenty of value on board anyway. Because next turn we get Citizen Champion. Hopefully we get ourselves an enchantment, so we can play something like a Ajani, make a 2/2, Citizen Champion comes down, minus, do all of the +1/+1 shenanigans. I think after our opponent's Prankle last turn, I think it's probably best just leave the Archon back. Rix, Mardy, Reveler, discarding Gutterbones. Okay, so a nice non-discard there. Another Woe Strider. Do not care about that one bit. That is a fantastic git. We did not do anything of note. Okay. We're going to bring back Citizen Champion. Opponent still can't cast non-creature spells at a normal price. We're going to put a counter on it. Could put a loyalty counter on it to assert dominance, but I think that might not be the best idea. Yeah, I think we're just going to go Archon. I think we're really just setting up a wonderful turn here. Give all my creatures Vigilance on Ajani's passive, and then minus to make them 4/5s as well. And now we just get to swing in the air and finish the game off next turn. If they kill anything, it comes back with Elspeth Conquers Death. Other than the token, I suppose. If we draw any enchantment, we're going to make 2 2/2s, which will eventually become 3/3s. Yeah, steal my champion. And scoop it up. Yeah, screw up my opponent's deck. Hate that deck. Yay, we did bronze. Woo. Oh my god, my life is now better. All for getting to silver tier 4. We did it, chat. Alright, let's have one more game, I suppose. Okay, we're in, and this is close to being good. It literally needs to draw all the lands in the world. No, we'll take them all. It's a bad idea to keep that hand. This one looks much better, though. We've got turn 1 Al Said. We'll get rid of the Cavalier, and then we've got 3 and 4 to play here. I think it's pretty decent. So let's go Al Said. Pass the turn, got a nice 1/1 beater. Opponent on Jeskai Fires. Could be Teamer Reclamation as well. We'll see. I really try to avoid the tier 1 decks at all costs, so I really don't know the exact composition of those decks, because I just don't play against them intentionally. But yeah, it's Teamer... Oh, Teamer Clover, okay. Lots of adventure shenanigans. I think this might be an Ali and Trazi deck. Alright, well, I'm just going to go Citizen Champion. Draw things like Banishing Light, we want to get rid of that Lucky Clover. And hopefully we can pump Citizen Champion out of, like, Storm's Wrath range, which I think is a card that could be running here. Good lord. All the Lucky Clovers. And they get to make 3 1/1s. Hey, Destiny Spinner. I think I'm going Greed mode. I think I'm going Archon. And we're passing, since they can triple block, and I only get to kill 1. So it's trading a 1/3 card draw engine for a 1/1 token. Doesn't seem worthwhile, if I'm honest. Maybe it's not a Storm's Wrath deck then. They want to ideally keep their... Oh, just bounce my entire board. Great. Yippee, I get to play it all again. Gotta love that. Land, please, so I can Citizen Champion Destiny Spinner. I guess I can Al Said as well, though. Now they get to draw cards from their invented creatures. Another Citizen Champion. Okay, so play Al Said, hope to draw a land here, so we can at least do more things in a turn. We're not actually that good at Magic, so we didn't draw what we wanted. Maybe next time. Yeah, I'd still love another Citizen Champion land drop Destiny Spinner. That'd be lovely. We could do that game. I'd be up for that. I need to be able to answer my opponent's board state sooner rather than later. Fey of Wishes, look for 3 sideboard cards. Alright. I'm sure this can't possibly go well for me. This seems pretty nutty for our opponent. And unfortunately we haven't drawn any of our removal. We do have a Calyx, but it only gets rid of creatures or enchantments. So they got a Domri's Ambush. And an enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library. Okay. And a Return to Nature. So they get to kill enchantments, they get to play Lovestruck Beast, and kill 6 toughness worth of things. We drew our land. That's good. I think we just go for the card draw. I think we go Citizen Champion, Destiny Spinner. I think if our opponent does want a Lovestruck Beast and Domri's Ambush, we still have a Citizen Champion left over. And we got the value out of it as well by a country mile. And now we can start swinging in with Citizen Champion. Yeah, so they can, like, put Destiny Spinner and Al Said in the trash as well. It's an option. But I really don't care that much. So, Ambush, Champion. Going for the smaller one. Okay. Odd, but I accept your weird play. Let's go Fabled Passage. Crack it for a forest. Is this instant speed? It is. Okay. And then we're going to tick up. We've got like Wolf Willow Havens and Al Said's open now to draw off of Citizen Champion. There's no point minusing because we know that they can already remove all of our enchantments. Hey, Wolf Willow Haven, there you go. Just gonna go for that ramp.
Stars will light our way.
Boop the champion, and we got a Banishing Light, never punished for any decisions I make. We're gonna pass, our opponent's going to Mystic Repeal, is that what it's called? Yeah. Looked at it several times, didn't care to read it. It's my style. That's how I play Magic. Reading cards is for people who care about understanding the cards. I play on a whole nother level, chat. Alright. So I'm assuming they're going to force Calyx to die here. Let's play Fey of Wishes, draw a card, okay. Maybe they're holding it for actual high impact enchantments. Which they're going to be waiting a while, because I'm not good at drawing anything good. Alright, make 3 more 1/1s. Fey of Wishes is going to go and empty out the sideboard a little bit more, but I imagine if they're picking Return to Natures and Mystic Repeals, they've already got the best cards in their deck out already. But who knows? That's not a bad one. Okay, so Calyx is going to tick up again. Again, the minus doesn't really do anything. I'll say it's sweet.
Clothis, show me my path.
So we've got Archon. Can only play 1 white spell, unfortunately. There's nothing that can actually change that. So it's probably just going to be Archon, play another Al Said. Use these to give protection to my stuff. I guess we could have waited so that we can draw off Citizen Champion with the Alsaid. That way we could have maybe got another 2-2. Alright. Well, never punished. Forgot I hadn't already made my land drop. That's the thing. Okay. So if they want to use this and get it back, they have to discard 2 cards with Fey of Wishes, which pretty much undoes what they've already done. They can just use any of these 2 spells, though, to just immediately get it back, so they're not actually going to be discarding more than 1 card doing that. I think I might just play another Alsaid, draw and make more 2-2s. I think instead of trying to answer their board, I should just progress my own. And then later I can maybe overwhelm them with value. I want to find like a Johnny at this point, I think. 6-8. Am I done drawing cards with Citizen Champion to the point where I'm happy to trade a Lovestruck Beast with it? I don't think so. I think I'm a greedy individual. Can I give our opponents stuff? No, no protection with... Alright, they get rid of Lucky Clover and Lovestruck Beast for Fey of Wishes. Sure. They do potentially have something like Mass Manipulation X2, but I have X2 Alsaids open at the moment, so I'm not too afraid of that kind of play. Plus we got time to wait on it as well, since they're going to be tapping out here. So they get to look at 3 more sideboard cards. Yep, there's Mass Manipulation, which we can get protection from, as long as we're very careful about it. And Storm's Wrath, that one's a bad one. Aether Gust answers Citizen Champion if they can get rid of the Alsaids, which they've got the Storm's Wrath to do that with. I actually could protect myself a little bit, right? Can I? Oh, it's you don't control. Oh, Calyx, why aren't you slightly better? Okay, so I think Archon needs this Sentinel's Eyes to live. God dang it, Archon, be better. Not Archon, Calyx. I really wish we could target our own stuff, because then I could stick my Archon underneath an Alsaid or something like that, which gives me board wipe protection. Because if my creature dies, then this would come back after that. So we're going to draw a card, make some more 2-2s, have a Vigilant Creature getting in, and it's 5 toughness as well, which allows me to survive a Storm's Wrath with my Archon. And this is red or green, so they can only get rid of the Citizen Champion, which I am protected from with our Alsaids. However, temporarily. Hello, opponent. I guess they've got a Mystic Repeal, so I could do with having another one. Where are my Elspeth Conquers Deaths? I wouldn't care so much about this Storm's Wrath if I just had a way of getting them back. I guess I've still got the Calyx tick up to take care of Lovestruck Beast, so they have nothing through the Storm's Wrath, and I get to hold up and Alsaid activations as well. Come on, opponent. I think they've DC'd by accident. There's no way they actually like salty scooped here. So I don't think they're necessarily losing this game. It's just got interesting though. So I hope they come back. It'd be sad if they didn't. Yeah. I've been having some connection issues like that recently, but it's okay, guys, because Magic's in, you know, early access beta at this point. Yeah, let's go Calyx. There's an Elspeth Conquers Death. All right. Fantastic. I think we are going to Wolf Willow Haven, a forest. Keep going with the board state. I'm not really committing to the 2/2s. I'm more committing to the Citizen Champion at this point. Let's go with Al Said as well. Yeah. Now our opponent's had enough. The thing is with Storm's Wrath, we can give protection from red so that we don't take damage to it. And then we've also got plenty more Alceids to give protection from blue. 2 colours that we have no interaction with on our side, so we're not really losing anything to do this. And these 2 cards just don't do anything. Like, they could Ether Gust the Citizen Champion, but I feel like he's done his job at this point. And all we're doing is committing a hell of a lot more. If anything dies as well, we have open to us the -7, which would get us back Destiny Spinner and Sentinel's Eyes and any Elspeth Conquers Deaths and things like that that's go back. In fact, we get all 4 Alceids back as well. So we get that quadruple level of protection from our opponent's deck. That was it's a pretty cool matchup. It's a shame it ended the way it did, but you know, I think we were actually winning through our opponent's many disruption spells just because we got a better draw, honestly. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. This deck is not completely where it needs to be, I don't think. There are some tweaks required to it. I think its game against mono red is still a little bit weak, and it could do with some early game interaction against that kind of deck. Like, Archon is great to win against mono red, but I find myself seemingly not quite getting there, because I think by about turn 4 when Archon comes down, they're already Ember Cleaving and Tor Branning, and it's just not quite what you want. But it's getting there. It's getting there for sure. If we get our draw, we just don't lose. But if we don't, then we're in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, if you do enjoy the content, as I mentioned, do all that shenanigans. Other than that, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.